Naruto, a student following down the path of their master isn't anything new. To a certain extent, it's almost something that's expected as the shinobi works to find their own path forward and eventually break out of the shadow of their teacher. For a time, Sasuke Uchiha was a student under Orochimaru, one of the three legendary Sani no Konoha. However, being a prodigy from the Uchiha clan, Sasuke eventually surpassed his teacher in skill, knowledge, and power. Now in the Boruto era, unbeknownst to Sasuke Uchiha, he's now found himself walking in the same footsteps as Orochimaru, albeit on a slightly different path, which is something that Orochimaru himself isn't lost to the fact of. In today's edition of Sasuke Shinden, the teacher's star pupil, we're going to take a look at the scene where Orochimaru discovers this latest development with his former star pupil, Sasuke Uchiha himself. The information is given to us in the Sasuke Shinden novel, The Teacher's Star Pupil, which takes place in the Boruto era. It's in this novel that Sasuke is taking over training Team 7 and has begun pushing the new Team 7 to levels they never expected to be pushed towards. Each member of the team finds themselves incredibly stressed or growing incredibly disheartened from Sasuke's training, because no amount of progress that they make feels like true progress. The lightning release jutsu that Sasuke teaches them is too complex and requires a level of chakra control that the new Team 7 does not yet have. A jutsu that Sasuke refers to as being simple is still far out of their reach at their current skill level. Now, it's during this time, long after Sasuke's ended his training 7 with Team 7 for the day, that Mitsuki is training well into the midnight hour in order to perfect the jutsu, being watched very closely by his father Orochimaru. It's also during this time that the parallels between Sasuke and Orochimaru get drastically redrawn, and Orochimaru makes the connection himself. With the scene being set, it's here I'm going to begin quoting. That night, Mitsuki stood alone on the massive tree branch, training on his own with the Lorentz gun. He was able to generate the lightning style bolts, but they scattered the instant that they came into contact with the air. Left to its own devices, an electric current would melt away into nothing. Holding one of them in the form of a bolt took real skill he didn't have yet. The sky was quite clear. The half moon, shining sharply above the treetop, looked like it was floating right in front of Mitsuki's nose. The crackling of lightning continued. Mitsuki concentrated on the image of a pillar, centering his electric current as he practiced the lightning style jutsu. That's pretty interesting training, The sudden voice of his father interrupted Mitsuki's focus. He looked back to find Orochimaru standing on the branch above Mitsuki, looking down at his son. "Don't you have something better to do?" Mitsuki said. "I was just taking a walk," Orochimaru chuckled. "The moon was just so beautiful." Mitsuki raised his eyebrow. "And you came all the way here just to tell me that?" Orochimaru looked at his son. "From what I saw, it looks like you're trying to control the flow of lightning style. But to what end? What's your goal?" Orochimaru said, studying Mitsuki. Eager to get back to his training, Mitsuki was non-committal in his responses, but Orochimaru still kept talking nonetheless. "I see what you're doing. By controlling the flow of lightning style, you can use a magnetic field to accelerate objects." I see." Orochimaru nodded. "Electromagnetic induction, is that your goal?" Orochimaru asked. Mitsuki ignored him and focused his mind on the palm of his hand. He envisioned a straight line as he tried to pull the current that was so intent on scattering. The electricity in his hand crackled, and it stretched as far as his eye could see, wrapped in plasma. He finally did it. The instant that the thought crossed his mind, however, the current popped with a loud crack and the jutsu dispelled. Mitsuki shouted. He was too excited by his apparent success. He'd accidentally relaxed his mind. It was then that the jutsu had failed. Orochimaru nodded with satisfaction. "That's not too shabby. Well, you are my son after all. It's only natural that you be able to do something like this at the very least. I still have a long way to go. I can't really maintain the form. I'll need time to shape the electricity how I want to. It won't be instantaneous like Mr. Sasuke," Mitsuki said. "What was that?" Orochimaru asked. The color of Orochimaru's eyes abruptly changed. "Mitsuki, did I hear you right? Is Sasuke really training you?" "Didn't I mention that? Master Konohamaru's in the hospital, so Sasuke's filling in for him." "That's Sasuke, huh?" Orochimaru muttered. "Perhaps I'll come to your training tomorrow." In quote. So what I personally love here is the fact that Orochimaru, the moment that he learns that Mitsuki's being directly trained by Sasuke, wants to oversee the training. Orochimaru went from being pleased that his son was trying to learn highly advanced lightning release jutsu to being flat out stunned that Sasuke was the one training him. For Orochimaru, this was everything coming full circle. The student that he had trained almost 2 decades ago in the timeline is now training Orochimaru's own son. Sasuke is now the one who's training a highly skilled pupil that has always been a cut above the rest in his generation. From the moment that Mitsuki entered into the academy, he was on a completely different level. In the Mitsuki versus Samiri battle, he was using elemental ninjutsu to fight her, and it's also worth noting that she also had a change in chakra nature, yet Mitsuki was still dominant in that fight. The reason why this is so huge is that during the Bell test of part 1, Kakashi was absolutely stunned to see that Sasuke could use fire release, and he remarks that change in chakra nature is way too advanced for Genin to be able to use. In part 2, when Naruto attempts to learn change in chakra nature, we learn from Shikamaru and Asuma that change in chakra nature drills take years to complete. Yet, Mitsuki in his battle with Samiri had change in chakra nature on display as an academy student, and despite her being well trained, Mitsuki, again to reiterate, was in complete control of the battle. Even before he entered into the academy, Mitsuki had Sage Mode tucked away in his back pocket as a literal last resort. Just as Sasuke was superior at the academy to all the other students in his class and eventually went on to train with the legendary Orochimaru, Mitsuki is now the Sasuke to Sasuke being Orochimaru in this parallel. Now, what I also enjoy about this moment is the fact that we see the proud parental side of both Naruto and now Orochimaru when they learn that Sasuke is training the prodigy sons. Naruto was glad to see that Sasuke was training a very young Boruto during the Chunin exams, likely because his rival was now training the very son that Naruto said reminded him of Sasuke at that point in time. And at this point in the timeline, Orochimaru is now proud because his former star pupil is now training his own son. However, unlike the relationship with Sasuke, where Orochimaru was only training Sasuke for the intention of taking over Sasuke's body, there is no ulterior motive here. Sasuke genuinely just wants the next generation to get stronger by any means, which is something that I love here because of how sincere it is. It's continuing the fact that Naruto and Sasuke have broken that cycle that the Ashura and Indo reincarnations previously had in the past. However, what did you guys think about this? Does this actually show growth for the character Orochimaru and growth for the character Sasuke? Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below, but as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.